All right, good morning, everyone. Futures Burizio here. It is now uh, about 11:30 a.m. on Thursday, March 13th. Hope everybody's doing great. And I just want to jump in here and do a live. And as always, if you're watching this live, make sure you say hi. If you're watching it afterwards on the YouTube channel, make sure you smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and leave any questions or comments down below. So, continuing to refine and backtest this currency divergence strategy here using the currency indices. And I'm trying to hone this down a little bit. And I'm finding that, in terms of just kind of like finding something that's a little bit more consistent. Of course, nothing's ever guaranteed. But where there's a little bit more pattern to these divergences and reliability per se, and also just as a way to avoid potential over trading and filter it down. For now, I've created a separate template here in TradingView, and on here, I'm only showing the British pound, the euro, and the dollar index. These three. So you got the pound on top, and then the middle one there is the euro. The bottom's the DXY, the dollar index. Now, as I've stated before, the euro and the GBP pretty much move the same. I mean, there's slight differences, but they are very closely correlated. Okay, and the dollar often is exactly the opposite of those two. Now, they do, of course, sometimes run together, and you will get sideways price action, those consolidation periods that you see on the chart. So I'm certainly not intending to say that they're always doing the opposite thing, but in my experience in trading pairs like the Euro GBP, I find the Euro GBP really difficult to trade for that reason, because the euro and the pound are often moving together. To me, and I know some people will disagree, but to me, when I look at like the Euro GBP pair, you often find that it moves sideways, and so because of that, I tend to stay away from that pair. If we go over and we look at the Euro GBP, I don't have it up here, but let me see if I can just find it in this list here. And again, guys, this is my Oanda account, and I don't trade on this anymore. I only have my funded account, but I left literally $1 in this account just so they would leave it open so I could at least use the charts. I don't really need it. I guess I could use TradingView, but I'm still kind of a sucker for MetaTrader. I've just always used it. So, okay, so here's the Euro GBP. And if we just zoom out here, I mean, you can see that these are pretty busy charts. I mean, to me, this pair does not trend cleanly. It often is like just lots of overlapping waves. You can just see it goes through these major times of consolidation. Yes, there are periods like here where it will trend for a little while, okay, but then it goes back into these big consolidation areas. And yeah, you can trade these on a smaller time frame, but you can see again, we get a lot of choppiness. And if you go to the weekly chart, I mean, essentially this pair has stayed inside this range since goes all the way back to 2016. So this is 9 years of price data you're seeing here, almost 9 years of price data, and you can see it really hasn't gone anywhere. And that's because these two currencies do tend to move very correlated together. Not entirely, obviously. Within here there are small trends that are happening, but to me this is not a good trending pair to trade. So that's why I just have stayed away from it. And I think that's reflected if you look at these currency indexes. Now, going to we hyper zoomed in here. This is only a 15-minute chart, but to me they do signal a lot of correlation, and so I just don't like to trade the Euro GBP pair, anyways. But getting back to this, I did add an indicator in here. So this is just a session indicator I looked up on TradingView. I just found one. I just put in New York session. I found this indicator, and it has a couple of different sessions you could lock, but I only just put in the New York one, and I narrowed it down to 8:45 to 10 a.m. So you can see it right here. So this yellow bar represents 8:45 a.m. New York time till 10 a.m. New York time every day. And I only just put it on there for back testing purposes. And but if you look, today was a perfect example. And in my back testing, and which is why I'm going to try to focus on these three. And I could actually just do the euro and the dollar, but I threw the British pound on there too, just as another alternate, because again, they do track very closely. So this basically gives me two currency pairs that I could trade. Well, potentially three if you want to add the euro pound, but as I just said, I don't really trade that. But this basically gives me the GBP USD and the Euro USD to potentially trade based on what I see here. And again, the Euro GBP is a potential third one, but we'll just leave that aside. And so the other thing I've noticed with this in back testing, and again, it's not universal, but somewhere around 9 a.m. New York City time every day, so about 1 hour after the New York session starts, that these tend to show you what their real intention and direction is for the day. And they're almost always divergent, where the pound and the euro will line up together for the most part. Again, not universal, not every day. And the dollar will go the opposite way. Now, again, there are certainly days when they all move together, so then you get that kind of sideways nothing days. And that might go on for a couple of days where they're basically moving sideways together. They're all moving in the same direction. So you get sideways price action. So I'm not saying there's going to be a trade there every single day, because there won't be. But I do notice that around that New York time, that about an hour into the session, that you start to get some divergence. And so, but you're going to have some days also, like I said, where they'll all move together, or price will move in the same direction as that first half hour trading. Okay. So I want to just show you like this day over here, which was earlier this week. That was Tuesday compared to today. So here's Tuesday, right where my little pink hand is there. And that's 8 a.m. And you can see it right at 8 a.m. The pound went up, the euro went up, the dollar went down. Okay, then we move into this 8:45 to 10 a.m. period. And you can see, we went into a little bit of consolidation, but essentially those trends continued, right? We didn't get that reversal, back down. Price kind of just like went sideways, drifted down, then kind of went up. Now, we're actually, into the end of the day here pretty much. Because this was 8 o'clock. So by the time we get to here, let's see. Let me just make sure. Let me look at the time here. This is Tuesday the 11th. Yeah. So we pretty much went up, and see, where's the end of the day? The end of the day is right over here. So yeah, we pretty much went up the whole day. Price, just kind of like just meandered and went up. But we didn't get that reversal. Same thing with the dollar, went down, just kind of went sideways, but it did end up just meandering down. So on this day, whatever the morning setup was, that would have continued on. And like I said, sometimes that's going to continue, where the right at the open, these big bars kind of set the tone, and then price continues in that direction for the day. But then you go over to today, okay, and here's 8 a.m. today, right there. And you can see again, and on today, the euro and the pound went down, the dollar went up. Okay, but then look what happens at 8. Let's see, this was right at 9 o'clock. An hour later, we have the market kind of reverse and start going the opposite direction. Okay, All right, and you can see what's happened here, right? So the euro and the dollar started down, then around 9 o'clock they started reversing back up. The dollar started up, and right at that exact same time, they started the dollar started going back down again. Okay, so there's one of two things you could do. You could either trade this, okay, at the open short, and just being aware of what you're looking at here. And you also have to know that right now the pound and the euro, the pound dollar and the euro dollar are both in uptrends. So you could also say, well, I want to follow the larger trend, so I'm not going to take this pound dollar euro dollar short right at the open because that's against the larger trend. I'm going to wait for the index to kind of level out and start going back the other way, which happens right here about an hour later, which when there is a turn on these indices, it does seem to happen right around 9 o'clock. So if you're waiting for, a potential trade in line with the trend, you wait about that 1 hour time frame, and that's usually about when it'll happen. So if we go over and look at the actual chart, here's GBP USD. Okay, so actually let's look at the euro first. Euro right here. Okay, 1 hour chart. Here's today. Okay. All right. So here was that first hour right here. That's this candle. Let me just zoom in a little bit. Okay. So that first candle, that 8 o'clock candle, was right here. Okay. And that's when the market opened and we saw these things going down. Okay. And now, of course, we get 1 hour in. So here's 9 o'clock, and then we start to go back the other way again. Now, if we look at the higher time frame, 4 hour time frame, daily, you can see this pair is in an uptrend, right? So let's go back to the hour chart just because that's where we started. And so I'm still back testing this, but essentially we had this 1 hour opening candle where price went down, let's see, right from the open to this low here is 52 pips. So it went down 52 pips in an hour and bottomed out, started going back up again. So let's see what happens today, whether we get a continuation of the larger uptrend up and that this plays out where the larger trend takes over, and then we have that move where the larger trend takes over, about an hour into the session, or whether this is just going to roll over and continue back down again. And if we look at the pound US dollar, probably going to see the same thing. All right, so again, we'll zoom in a little bit here. So here was the first hour right here. This candle actually ended up closing up because you can see it's blue. But it's basically a doji candle. I mean, it's, although it did close up, it was basically, a doji. I mean, it closed up, but very slightly off the high there. So this candle went down about 40 pips in that first hour, and then we started heading back up again. Now it looks like it wants to come down again. So let's see. I'm back testing all this to see how this plays out, because I'm really just trying to again hone this thing down and just get it down to a couple of currencies. And look, the euro and the pound and the dollar are the three most heavily traded currencies. There's a lot of action on this during the New York session. Crossover, especially between 8 a.m. and noon when London and U.S. is open. There is a lot of liquidity and volume in the market during those times. And if I can find some kind of way to filter down, even if I don't get a trade every day, I'll probably be happy with that and just start to eliminate some of the distraction, because I am still trading futures. As I mentioned on a video last week, I really don't want to, I really don't want to continue to follow just multiple things. It just waters down my time, waters down my analysis, and just makes it hard for me to really make smart decisions sometimes because I'm, following too many things. So I want to see what happens here. And again, this is a 15-minute chart. If we go to the 5-minute, whoops, that's 3 minutes, that's 10 minutes. Okay, here's the 5. All right, and you can see again, here was 8 o'clock. All right, you can see the divergent moves at 8 o'clock, or the euro and the pound going the same way, and the US dollar going the opposite way. Okay, and that happens not every day, but it happens on a lot of days where they're diverging. Okay, if we go back to yesterday, it's a little more sloppy, but at the open we had the again the pound and the euro going down and the US dollar going up. And then that continued on until about, again, about that 9 o'clock. And then you can see they reversed. Okay. The dollar started going down around 10 o'clock, started reversing down. The euro started going back up. The pound eventually did, although it took it until about quarter after 10 before it started heading back up. But it eventually did too. And so again, you have that first, hour or so, and then they tend to go back the other way again. So I'm just curious to see how sustainable these are. Whether we continue to get, because you can see what's happening now, where the British pound is trying to push back down again to basically continue that opening range. The euro is kind of leveled off, and the dollar went down, but that's now leveled off. So I want to kind of see what happens with these. So I'm still back testing it, but like I said, at this point, I'm probably leaning towards just staying with these 3 indices, and just looking to see if I can find a suitable trade on these. And again, I'm still just trying to figure out what's the best time frame to use. I really don't like getting caught up in the noise of 5-minute time frames. So that's why I like the 15-minute chart, just because it gives it a little bit of breathing room. But, you could go out to a 30-minute. If we let's look at like a 30-minute chart here. We'll just reorient this a little bit. So on the 30-minute chart, again, here's our open right here. This is that open down, and then price kind of stair-stepping back up, and now it looks like it wants to, go back down again. So, but you can see the problem is on these longer time frame is that these stair steps are really, it's hard to catch and get good timing on trade entries when you use these higher time frames, unless you're just going to hold trades for a long period. And so, I'm just trying to figure out the best way to do this. So that's why I like the shorter time frames, but it does make a little bit more noise, but not too short. Like 10 to 15 minutes I found is decent. But I'm going to stick with this with these indices. I just need to, like I said, just keep working on fine-tuning what the best time frame is to judge these off of. And how long I'm going to hold these trades. Are these just going to be scalps or longer scalps, where I'm holding them only for a couple of hours? Or am I going to look for, a session trade and just be willing to go through some drawdown on these pullbacks? So anyway, so that's the currency indices. So let's just jump over to futures really quick. And so we're at natural gas here. So here's the 4-hour of natural gas. As I was saying, I was expecting to see price head back down towards these lows. We came down here today to, for all you SMC traders, a potential gap, fair value gap right in here on this candle on the 4-hour chart. Price came down, maybe filled that in a little bit. And then started heading up. But if we go to the hourly time frame, you can see, we came down here, bottomed out, came back up again, but we failed to close above this 1-hour swing right here. We have this area right here. Okay, we have this area right here. this swing high led to this low. When price came back up, it tried to pop higher, but you can see it failed to, and it came back and it's now closed back inside this range. So if this holds, then this could be another potential shorting opportunity from this area. Okay, I don't know if it's going to. If we go down to the 15-minute, you can see it made 1, 2, 3, what is that? 4. It made 4 attempts to go higher. So over the course of an hour, it tried to poke higher 4 times, and all 4 times it rejected and came back down inside the range. And now we're trying to go up again, just hitting this as resistance. If this gets rejected and we come down now and start heading lower on the shorter time frame, here's the 5-minute. Basically, to me, if we end up coming down now and take out this little swing right here on the 5-minute, then I would probably consider that to be another down selling opportunity. But if this is able to come up here and clear this area right here, then that might signal at least a short-term change in direction to go up. So really between this low and this high is kind of the key right now. On natural gas. So we'll see where that goes. I don't know if there'll be an opportunity today, but I'm just kind of watching it. I may actually, after I'm done with this video, set a couple of price alarms and just see what this thing does. Oil is continuing to pop. I've had these boxes drawn on here pretty much all week. I've talked about it in the last couple of videos. So again, we've got this longer range lows down here, right, where the market has held this price area quite a bit, and it's made multiple attempts to break through there. We did actually close a couple of times right at this. So if you look at, this is the lowest part of this range way back here in October, and you can see we had multiple attempts on that area here this week. Actually, between this week and last week, we've had multiple areas, but every time it's rejected and pulled back. So now we've got, basically this range between this swing high and these lows that we're just kind of chopping around. And like I said, at this point, I'm not really too interested in doing much with this until it either takes out these lows, and if it does, we'll probably go significantly lower. If you look at the cash chart, there's a lot of room underneath there to run lower. It's hard to tell on the futures chart. You have to look on like a CFD chart to see the bigger range. But I do think if it can finally take these lows out and get a definitive close, like a 1-hour chart close below here, probably was going to go lower. But if this area does, continues to hold and we pop back and, clear this area, then we'll probably, make at least a short-term run up to these swings. And then, if it gets through there, then we'll just keep stair-stepping to the next swing high. So oil is just kind of like stuck in a range right now. I mean, oil prices and gas prices are down. So we could see some continued pressure on oil at this point. But, like I said, the market has been very resistant to letting prices fall below this area, even long-term. Below the, 60, around that $65.50 to $66 range. And it's been holding inside this range since last week. So since the beginning of last week, we got into this range, and it really hasn't gone anywhere. You can see it's just chopping around in here. Yes, there are opportunities on really short time frames for scalping trades, but if you're not a scalper, if you're looking to just, hold a trade for at least a session, if not swing trade, then this is not the kind of price action you want to see. So we'll see what happens with that. Copper continues to move up again. We did take out all of these highs I was mentioning about these highs. We did break through there on this most recent 4-hour candle. We made an attempt yesterday. That didn't go anywhere, but we've now pulled back and seem to go higher now. So again, I'll have to look at cash chart to see, where this might go. But you have to really, if this candle closes, this 4-hour candle does close here which it's going to close in 9 minutes. So I imagine it will closes above this resistance area. Then we can probably continue to target some long positions in copper now that we've cleared out these highs up here. Again, assuming that we don't have a big giant sell down here in the last 8 minutes of this 4-hour candle. All right, and then lastly on FDX, on the DAX, again, this is not doing anything. I haven't traded this like all week. Again, it just, here's the 4-hour. It's just a mess, you know. Just zoom out here, just keep going out. It's just not doing anything. So again, kind of like oil, unless we either clear out these lows below this rectangle and start moving lower, in which case, you know, there's areas significantly lower down here to target. But unless we clear out this area here, you know, I'm not interested in the DAX. And I think we would have to clear these highs on the shorter time frame, you know, come up here and clear out this. There's obviously a clear resistance level sitting right here. So if we come up and take this out, then maybe we'll start going higher again. You know, in the short term, they could, you know, probably trade back to here. But this is just a mess right now. So I'm really not interested. So I'm not going to really spend a lot of time on the DAX. You know, this thing had a really super nice run up. And, you know, so now we're, you know, are we in a transition phase, or we're going to start heading down, or is this just taking a breather? I don't know. We'll have to see. The stock market in general is, in the U.S. is very dicey right now. There's a lot of feeling that, you know, we're going to see a larger correction. And if that happens, I would imagine the DAX will follow it, even though this is the German stock market. You know, as the U.S. markets go, so do these other ones tend to follow. So, you know, this could be kind of a distribution phase where we're going to roll. We will eventually break through here. It might take some news catalyst or something to break it lower. But if we do that, then, you know, we do have target areas to look at much further down the road. But for now, I'm just kind of putting this on the back burner. So, all right. So I'm going to leave it there, guys. That's the midday update here, and we'll see what happens with the currency indices. That's really where my focus is right now, to kind of back test and hone in on a decent way of using that. And it might take me a little while to do that, but I'll continue to play around with it and see what happens. So I appreciate it, guys. Make sure you smash the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're just finding it for the first time. It really helps the YouTube algorithm. And questions or comments, leave them down below too. Have a good rest of the day, and maybe I'll pop back in later with a day wrap up if there's anything to really note. All right.